Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's the final vlog for September, although you're probably going to be seeing this in October. I have a few days left and I'm trying to read some more series books before I start my October TBR. So what I'm going to do, I have some books from my Clear the Cart challenge that I posted the books on that cart, I think about a week ago. If not a few days ago, I can't remember exactly when that'll come out compared to this, but these books are from that video and they are obviously all series books because we're still in September. So these are the ones, I'm going to go through the books that I'm going to plan on trying to get through. But what I'm going to do is just film this till the end of September, and whatever I read by the end of September will be in this, and then I'll start my October ones October 1st. So I may not get to all of these, but these are the ones that are on my mind. The first being Live Love Ranch by Emma Lucy, which is the first in her little, I can't remember the name of the series, I'll pop it up with the title or with the cover, but it's a little cowboy series. I thought the book came out like at the end of September. No, it came out like months ago. I don't know why I had the wrong date on there, but I swear I got the book on NetGalley after it came out too, so oh well. But it's cute so far. I did start it yesterday morning at the gym, and it's a very fast-paced read, very cutesy. Small town girl comes in because like all this upheaval has happened in her life. Very, very typical small town romance, very typical like Hallmark movie setup, and takes over her aunt's ranch that has just passed away. And there's of course like the grumpy big cowboy on the ranch, and she's trying to break down his walls to I assume have a relationship with him. And then she's also trying to rebuild herself after some stuff that's happened in her life. Again, very typical small town romance, Hallmark movie vibes. So far so good. It's cute. I think it's gonna be a very quick read, so I'm excited for that. The other book I will be reading first is Wisteria by Adalyn Grace. This is the third and final book in the Belladonna trilogy. Now she does have Holly coming out that I have not decided if I'm going to read yet. It just depends probably on how I feel about the end of this book, and it'll probably come out only in hardback, and I have everything in paperback, so it may be a next year read. But I will consider this trilogy complete once I finish this book, just because that's a novella you don't have to read, and I think it's like holiday themed even, so. But anyway, maybe just try to get it from the library too. This is the third and final book, and it's focusing on Blythe and the love interest that we meet in the second book. And that's all I'm really gonna say, because I don't want to spoil anything that happened in the second book or the first book. But this is like different characters than Belladonna, and then it's a continuation of characters we got to know in book 2. And a continuation of that story. And I kind of think I know where it's gonna go, but we'll see. I kind of love this because they are like at each other's, they hate each other. Like it is literal like enemies to, I assume, lovers, and I love it. And I have a thought on what, I mean, I don't think it's supposed to be a surprise plot twist because I think it's pretty obvious, but I think it'll be really cute if that happens. So this will be like the physical book I focus on first. I also have Mahari McFarlane's Cover Story, which is her newest release that's coming out at the beginning of October. I may try to read that at some point if I run out of options to read on like a Kindle, because of the other books I'm going to talk about I don't think are on Kindle. So I'm just putting that one out there. I don't know too much about what that's about. If I read it, obviously I'll talk about it, but that's one that could just pop up if I run out of like treadmill books. But the 3 off the cart, because that one was on my list. I did list ones that I don't physically own as well, like ARCs and stuff. But the 3 on my actual cart physically are Stealing Home by Grace Riley. This is the third book in her Beyond the Play series. And this is a baseball romance, and I want to say it's like Proximity. They like also had something, but she didn't want to make it serious, but I think they're living together for the summer because she needed a place to live and he had room in his apartment. That's all I really know. Third book in that out of 4. Then I have Diana Says Yes by Jen Besser and Shauna Fest, and this is the final book in the Dirty Diana series. This is a 200-page book, so I'm really hoping I can get through this and just kill it. But these books kind of get me emotionally in ways that I don't ever expect, so I just have to be in the right frame of mind for it. And this will, yeah, finish up that series for me. This is like women's fiction, erotic fiction. It is based off of a podcast, I guess, that exists. But I've just been like hooked since the first one, which was Dirty Diana, and have purchased the rest of them throughout this year. They've all come out this year, I think. Maybe the last one came out in like December of last year. The first one came out in December of last year, but the second 2 have all come out this year. So very excited to finish up this trilogy. And then another one that would be finishing a trilogy is Morning Star by Pierce Brown. This is the end of the original Red Rising trilogy. So I do want to get this done by the end of the year so that I can finish up this trilogy and work on the second one next year, because I think the fourth book, I don't know if it's part of that or if it's just like kind of a conclusion to everything. There's a final big book, I think, called Red God coming out maybe next year. But I would like to get through the second half of this series. That's, I think, a standalone on its own. But those books are massive. So I want to get through this one by the end of the year so that I can focus on the second half next year. Can't really talk too much about this. This is I think it's very Star Wars-y. And I haven't heard many other people say that, but I think the second book definitely took me to mind of like Star Wars. But it is a sci-fi novel. It takes place in space. The home base is like Mars, but they do go to other planets and stuff eventually. And there are spaceships and stuff. And that's just, I think, where they got really Star Wars for me. And they are trying to like overthrow. It's a fantasy sci-fi book. Like they're trying to overthrow the government as is, which is pretty typical storyline for a fantasy sci-fi book. But yeah, I'm excited to do. The second book left off with quite the cliffhanger. I actually like dropped the book when I finished it because I was so shocked. And as like daunting as these are to start, once I'm in them, I'm locked in. So I think this will be a good book to maybe start tomorrow. I've got a lot to do today, so I'm just hoping that I can read Live, Love, Ranch and Wisteria and get through most of those today. Tomorrow is Sunday, but I don't have a lot going on, so I'm hoping I can read a good chunk of this tomorrow. And then the other two books I'll just hope to get to, and possibly that arc. I only have a few days, like 4 days left of the month, so I don't know how many of these I'm going to get through. But we're going to push through, power through, and see what I can accomplish in these few short days. And I will update when I have some more to say about one of the books I'm reading. Okay, so I did finish up Live, Love, Ranch last night. And it was a cute, definitely typical small town romance book. Nothing like that knocked my socks off. 3.5 stars. It was definitely, I don't know, it just gave like, I think I said this in the previous update, like Hallmark movie vibes, and it just continued throughout the book to do that. They were both kind of dealing with ex-relationships and stuff and trying to get over those, so that was a big theme of the book and kind of starting over and everything, so it was a reason they bonded and all of that, and it ended up being obviously a huge part of the book because they were both dealing with that, but it was very cute. Will I continue the series? Maybe. If I can get the books maybe on like Kindle Unlimited or something, which I think they are on there, but it's not anything I'm like rushing out to continue for the time being. I don't even know if the other books are out yet, but it was really cute. I'm about 50% of the way through Wisteria, and I did end up getting that on my Kindle through the Libby app, so I am using that as my Kindle book now that I finish up Live, Love, Ranch. And I'm going to be starting Morningstar today because I do want to get through part of this while it's still the weekend and I don't really have too much to do. So that is where I'm at right now. I am enjoying Wisteria. It's picked up a little bit. The beginning was a little slow, but now it's kind of picking up, and I think I am on the right track with what I thought was going to happen with the plot. But again, we'll see as the book moves on if I'm correct or not. I'm obviously not going to tell you what I think because it would spoil the book, but I'll just let you know if my thoughts end up being true. And that's all I have for this update, so I will touch base once I finish or get further in one of the other books. Time for an update. I finished Wisteria today, and I think this was like a perfect ending to the trilogy. It gave us like, I don't know, she had me a little worried at the end that I wasn't gonna like how she ended it, but I think that it was perfect the way she did it, and it had like a good moral to the story, and just like it flowed really nice, and it kept you kind of guessing and kind of wanting more until the end is the best way to say that. I don't know that I'm gonna read Holly. I may if I can get it in the library, because if I buy it I want it to be paperback, and it's not on, these aren't on Kindle Unlimited, or at least this one's not yet, which means Holly won't be. But still really enjoyed this. This is 4 stars. Highly recommend this trilogy if you want something that's like a very romantic, like kind of gothic feel YA fantasy. It is clean. Things are implied, but it's very clean. And I really did enjoy this. So 4 stars, done with this trilogy. And I did start on Morningstar, and I'm about 160, 170 pages into it, and I'm loving it. I forget how much I love his writing until I start reading the books, and they're always so daunting until I get into them and I just want more. So if you're afraid to start this series and you think you may like it, like if you actually like fantasy, maybe like sci-fi, don't be afraid to start this. It is so good. Picks up obviously right where we left back off in Golden Sun, which was quite the cliffhanger. So yeah, there's been a lot so far in 160 pages. It is the finale of this original trilogy, so I am expecting a lot to happen. and it's delivered so far. But yeah, that's where I am in this book. I do plan on continuing this evening, but I probably will be starting Cover Story by Mahari McFarland. Is that how you say her name? I never know how to say her first name. But I'm going to be starting that. It's an arc I have. It comes out in about a week from the day that I'm filming this clip. And I don't know too much about it. So once I start reading it, I'll give an update tomorrow, just kind of giving a general idea of the synopsis based on like what I learned. So that's where I am right now. I needed another Kindle read, and the other 2 books physically that I had put aside for this vlog, I can't get on Kindle. I've tried to get them in the library, and on Kindle Unlimited, they're not there. So I will be reading another arc. So I will update tomorrow. Okay, so I just finished Morningstar. 6-star read. It was phenomenal. Great ending to the book. I always get so scared reading these because for some reason, like, my mind's like, I'm not gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be hard to get through, but then I just never want to put them down. Like, his writing is so addictive and his storytelling is phenomenal, and I can see how this would have ended after this book. This is the ending of the original trilogy, and there are obviously other books, which I do plan on continuing, but probably not till like next year. But the way that he wrapped this story up in here, like, yeah, it could stand by itself. And it was just so good. It was so good. I can't really talk, obviously, about what happens in this book, but it has, like I said in the previous clip, like, to me, Star Wars vibes, because, like, they're fighting against the powers that be and, like, the system, like, the color system and how the golds are the top and everything, and good versus evil. It's a good versus evil book. It's a fantasy sci-fi book. That's just typically how most of them are. There's the good side and the bad side, and usually the people, your main characters, are on the good side, and they're trying to overthrow the powers that be to build a better society that isn't elitist, which is kind of like what the society in this was. Like, golds were the top, reds were the bottom, and the colors in between all had their place in society, but again, like, everything was run by the golds. So this was them pushing away from that, and it was just so well written. Such an interesting story, such an action-packed book. This one was just great, and there were a few times in here, like, he made me mad with some decisions, but, like, by the end, I was happy with everything because it all wrapped up really well. So, 6-star read, quite possibly my favorite book of the year, or at least in the top 3. So I'd have to go back and, like, look at everything. I'm close to 200 books so far this year, but, like, this was phenomenal. I'm also reading Cover Story by Mahari McFarland, and it is a romance, but I think it's also, like, women's fiction romance, because the first, like, 30% of the book, I was like, is this going to actually be a romance? Because the MMC, I didn't feel like any type of connection between the FMC and the MMC, and there were, like, situations in the story that I was like, is this going to be a romance? Like, it just wasn't clear, and then it kind of took off, and now it's going in the direction of a romance. But we're basically following our FMC, who is a journalist, and our MMC is a intern at the publication that she works for, but he's, like, an older intern because he's doing a career change, and there's a lot of, like, crazy things going on in his life and her life with, like, past relationships and acquaintances and stuff like that, and she's trying to infiltrate this friend group for a story that's going to, like, blow up a very famous person's life. So she's trying to get proof. So she's trying to infiltrate and become friends with this girl that's, like, within that group and has, like, the answers that she needs. And when she's trying to do that, he runs into her while they're out and doesn't want him to blow her cover, so it's basically like, we're dating. So it's like a fake dating kind of thing, but they're also, like, co-workers and both dealing with a lot of crap going on in their lives. So that is what the book is, and I'm enjoying it so far. I think I like Mahari McFarland. I've listened to 2 of her books before, and they were okay. This one sounded interesting when I read the synopsis when I asked for the NetGalley arc, so that's why I asked for it. But it did start off kind of slow. I'm just over 50% of the way through, I want to say. I'm reading it on Kindle, so I can check that. Hold on. Or very close to, I'm 45%, so I'm very close to 50% of the way through. I'm going to read a little bit more of that tonight. And then I think I'm also going to start Diana Says Yes by Jen Besser and Shanna Fest. Today is October 1st, so technically we are into the next month. But I am going to just continue out this vlog to finish this and Cover Story, and then we'll move on to my October books. But yeah, this is only like a 200-page book, so I'm not concerned that it's going to take me too long, and I flew through the first two. So gonna continue Cover Story I think tonight. May start this, not really sure when I'll get to that, but the next time I update, I'll be done with one of them hopefully. So talk to you then. Okay, real quick update because I just finished Diana Says Yes. And I just loved this trilogy. I don't know what it is about it. It was just like a women's fiction, erotic fiction about this couple that is going through some rough times. It really just follows Diana, but it is mainly around her and her husband, and they're going through tough times, and she's trying to reestablish herself in her career. And it's really just a character study. There's really not a plot. It's just following her through life and her making decisions and all of that. And I really enjoyed this. 4.25 stars on this one. Quick, easy, breezy reads, and the writing is very palatable and very easy to get through. I literally started this morning and I'm done. So 200 pages though, so it wasn't like it was too long of a book, but yeah, I started it before I went into the gym this morning and I finished it just reading like at lunch and after work and everything. So really enjoyed this trilogy. So the only book left to finish out for this vlog is Cover Story by Mahari McFarland. I have like 20% of that book left. I'm gonna try to get through some of it tonight. We'll see, but I'll finish this vlog out tomorrow. Okay, everyone, time to wrap this one up. I finished up Cover Story by Mahari McFarland this morning, and I ended up giving this 3.25 stars. I enjoyed the story, but for her books, I've noticed that like the romance takes like a secondary plot. It's like the secondary plot. It's not the main plot, and I really just wanted a romance, I think, going into this, and it was like slow burn to the point where like there barely was a romance in the book. And I did really enjoy the side plot though, like the journalism side of it, like what she was trying to uncover and like the story and all of that. That was really interesting. But I didn't love how the romance kind of developed and then like finally came to fruition. It didn't flow well for me, but I still enjoyed the book. It was a very easy read too. Her books are fun to read. And I do like that they take on a little bit more of a plot than just the romance, but in this one I really wanted the romance and I just didn't get enough of it to give it a higher rating, but I still enjoyed it. And I feel like I felt like that about a bunch of other of her books that I've like listened to. So if you liked her previous books, you'll probably really enjoy this because it felt pretty similar with like the plot and how everything flowed. So that was the final book for the vlog. I also read Diana Says Yes by Jen Besser and Shauna Fest, and I gave this 4.25 stars. Morning Star by Pierce Brown, 5 stars, 6-star read, phenomenal. Wisteria by Adeline Grace, I gave this 4 stars. And then Live Ranch Love by Emma Lucy, I gave 3.5 stars. So those are all the books that I read here. I had 2 digital ones, so I only have 3 to hold, but I enjoyed this vlog. I loved Morning Star. That might be my favorite book I've read so far this year. I'm not 100% sure. Like, it's sticking out to me as #1. There are a few other ones that are like niggling the back of my brain that maybe I really enjoyed as well, just as much, but it's definitely going to be in the top wrapped for the year for me. So this is also this is the first part of my like clear the cart challenge. So this was 3 physical books off of that and then 2 books off of my ARC TBR that I had to read. So thank you so much if you've made it this far in this video. I plan on doing these for the rest of the year to try to clear the cart from the books that I have put aside for the rest of the year. And I might continue this into next year and maybe try to do a 0 TBR challenge. I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in. Let me know. But thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.